All right, we've made some progress, and we'll talk about that right after this. Welcome back. If you haven't seen my videos before, I'm Rusty Oliver Man, and 200 Allis Chalmers we've been working on. And in the last one, I ran to town, got some hydraulic hoses, and I already got them all put in. And I think I am happy with my decision of doing that, because that's going to save some headache later on for him, because they were pretty bad when I took them off. And yeah, so it's just a good thing to do it the right way. I labeled everything with colored zip ties, and by everything I mean 2 of them, because there were 2 short ones and 2 long ones. So I labeled 1 long one and 1 short one, just to make sure that I got the right stuff in the right place, and it should be that way. So the nice thing about the orange tractors is no fuel tank here, so we can actually start it when we're done and make sure that nothing is leaking before we put the hood back on. I might even take it up and wash it one more time with the hood off, now that I can get everywhere, since I took that other panel off. But that is neither here nor there. Our task at hand is going to be valve cover, which I said a long time ago, and we never have done it yet. I got those hoses put on when I got back from town. The camera was down here with me, but the battery was pretty well dead, so I didn't film anything. I went ahead and put the rubbers in this line, which was leaking, and I think we're good to go there. Like I said, when we run it, we'll find out. And don't worry if you missed out on that. I got rubbers to do all of these, so you'll get to see that happen. That is a struggle, those little rubber things. Also, since this is made as one, it's kind of an ordeal to, do that thing. But yeah, if your tractor like this dies, and then you can start it right back up again, and then after a little bit it dies, pieces of your governor ring have probably traveled, and they get up here and they plug up the return. We had that on one tractor once, and we pressurized the end, and air would go through, and you didn't think anything was wrong. And then I started putting fingers over each hole, and when I got 3 or 4 of them covered, something shot out of the thing like a cannon, and it was a wad of governor ring pieces. Then the tractor would run again. So yeah, but anyway, I think we're ready now for trying to get this valve cover wiggled out of here. I'm hoping it'll clear that bracket up front that we took loose. It should. And then we can get started on the scraping and cleaning of our both surfaces there, and glue on our gasket. I think I got enough left in my tube to do it. It's like toothpaste. There's always a little bit more. I don't know what happened to my clothespins, though. That was something that was bothering me. I know we took them along on that service call, so if I don't have them, I guess I'm gonna have to just do it the old-fashioned way, as in put the gasket on and then stick it right back on the thing and tighten her down and hope for the best. Or snug it up and leave it sit overnight and then tighten her down tomorrow. That would also be acceptable. Yeah, so we'll get at it. I guess the only other thing notable to mention is I did get this plate bolted in solid, so that's nice. I do want to get a piece of rubber hose to put around this like a big grommet, just so it doesn't end up wearing into that, and then I'll zip tie it around there. I want to zip tie a piece around those 2 fuel lines I put in. I don't think that they're into anything, but again, they might vibrate against a surface or something. So yeah, but we're plugging away. I think we're going to have done this thing a lot of favors, because it was leaking, I think, behind both filters. Fuel lines were bad. I'm not so sure that some of these hoses weren't leaking at the fittings, and so on and so forth. This was leaking terribly and had everything covered. So when we run it this next time, we're going to have a lot better idea as to if we got everything or there's more stuff that needs attention. But enough talking. Let's get to work. And it probably would be better if I were to have gotten my tools before I... It just never fails that what you need is on the opposite side of where you are. That's how it always seems to go. I think these are 7/16. And I did have a 7/16 deep well earlier, didn't I? Yeah. I'll go around. Okay. Let's see if that's the feller. Seems like it. My plan here is I'd like to get this glued on and then go do something else before the sun leaves me. So that something else is to see about why that WD over at Dad's won't start. He's having all kinds of problems with it. And I got a new set of points. And I'm just very frustrated with that tractor because it's had a lot of money spent on it. And every time I take it over there, then it doesn't seem to want to run. I've got theories, but I don't know. I don't think that this valve cover was leaking on the sides very much, but it was leaking on the back and it was leaking on the front. It looked like to me upon cleaning. But I'm sure we'll find some type of horrendous mess or something. See, this one's the one where you can't get to it with nothing but your tool. 'Cause it is down in there. Well, come on. We're struggling. Ain't no reason to struggle. Ooh, I need my little... Watching me. It should still down. Yeah, there it is. Very much covered with garbage. So some people would probably miss them and then end up throwing them on the ground and losing them. And that ain't good for nobody. Those little things do a good job of spreading out the clamping force so that you're not just directly on the bolt head. You're kind of a little bit beside it. And if you're wondering, you know, like the Olivers use the clamping through the valve cover, and Allis Chalmers is using along the bottom rim. The older Allis Chalmers used through bolts like on the WD through the valve cover. And the design doesn't seem to matter. They all seem to leak no matter what you do. So, you know, some of them last longer than others, but basically your valve cover's gonna leak at some point. So you're gonna have to just count this as preventative maintenance that you're gonna have to do at some point, because they all do it, no matter what the design. Okay. Now, can we get it to pop up easy without prying on anything important? Right now I'm prying on the head bolt. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, see back here there was trouble in paradise. Can we get it up out of there? Please say yes. Just a little twisting and pulling. Ooh, most of it stayed behind on the tractor. That's kind of different. It's pretty dry and brittle, so again, not wasted effort. And I forgot about these heads. This part of the gasket is pretty well flush with the surface, which, I mean, I'll bring you closer so you can see what I'm talking about. I'm not a fan of a design like that, and the only reason why is as your oil is dripping down off of everything, the heads that are more recessed, whereas this surface is higher than the inside, that creates like a little dam, and then the oil that does drip off here would have to jump up over that hump before it hits your gasket. And this is pretty well, if it comes to the bottom of here, the gasket's the only thing that's keeping it from creeping out. Not necessarily that that's a big deal, but just an added layer on protection on those engines. And again, it's not an Allis Chalmers only thing. There's tons of engines of every brand that are made both ways. So yeah, it's not a unique thing to just these. I'm just kind of looking her all over to see what I see. I need to get the rest of the gasket out. Can't really get to it very good. It's gonna take a lot of careful cleaning. Consequently, this is also why I change the oil on all of them when I work on them, or do anything where I take the motor open. I usually change the oil. The sun's probably in your eye there. That ain't doing you no favors, is it? But I'm trying to keep a visual on what I'm doing too, so that I don't miss a piece. Cause see, that would be very easy to do. Like this piece pop back inside there and then it's floating around. I don't want that. I want all the pieces. Ooh. See, there's one that just migrated back in there. Jeez. Very difficult to see anything. But very dry, brittle gasket. So, again, not wasted effort. Even if it wasn't leaking that bad, because a lot of people will say stuff like that when they're wanting to save a buck having stuff worked on. Well, it's not leaking that bad, so don't do it. Well, it's not a very long step between not leaking that bad and leaking pretty bad at this point. Once that material gets dried out and hardened, that's pretty well all she wrote. And it ain't gonna last very much longer. Anyways. Come on. Okay, where'd you go? Sure. These I gotta be extra careful, because these will go all the way down to the oil pan if I drop these pieces. Because stuff and things. Well, I'll explain that in a minute too. Get out of there, you trash. Yeah, see, on this side, your rocker push rod holes go all the way down through there. Essentially, I mean, the push rod stop at the camshaft, but still, the opening would more likely let these go all the way down to the bottom. Almost lost that one there. Talking about come on, baby doll. I mean, basically, you're gonna get some trash probably down in there, but if you take your time and you're careful, you maybe don't get a lot of big gasket pieces down in there. You'll just get some tiny sediment, which hopefully will be caught by oil filters. That's what they're for, to filter the oil from stuff like this, gasket material that gets broken down over time or what have you. This is a long and tedious process because there ain't no good way to get in there with much of anything. But if I use this carbide scraper on the end, like I am, I think I can get get in there good. Really I think the only thing that's really stuck is there might be a little bit around the outside rim where the gasket overhung. And then on this other side, it looks like the paint might be a issue where, you know, we can tell that this hasn't been changed since it was painted. In which case, that also tells us that this is time, because it's been painted for a long time. We just want to start out as clean as possible, is our goal. Might be nice if I get a bucket or something to stand on so I could see what I'm doing, because I'm not going to be able to see down in there very good. What would I have close by? Alright, well, this is a long, arduous process, and I don't see any reason to make you sit here and watch. So I'm going to shut you off, and I'll bring you back when something more exciting is going to happen. Alright, that cleaned up pretty good. So all we have to do now, and that's clean too, I should point that out, I guess. We're going to glue the gasket on and then do the old clothespin trick and leave her sit for a little bit, and then we should be ready to put her back on. So I will get that set up and prepped, and then I'll bring you back in a little bit. All right, so we'll let that set a while. Should be good to go. Got all the bolt holes lined up. Engine's going camping, looks like. Pitched a tent, but I just did that to keep trash from blowing in a lot. I don't know if I'll get it put back on later tonight or whether I'll wait till tomorrow, but at any rate, we are on the track of progression, which I have been longing for so long. So hopefully this will be back up and running at least tomorrow, and we'll figure out what else we might need to do to it. I did get a gasket for behind here, but I don't know if I want to do that or if I want to run it first again, because I'll run it before I change the oil anyway, and then see if it's worth doing it. It's not that difficult to do. I might just go ahead and do it and get it done with, and then yeah, because we did that on the last one. And then, I mean, we should be running out of things that were majorly leaking. I mean, I think we solved 99% of its issues. One thing I know that's still probably leaking a little is underneath the PTO, that cover. It looks kind of wet there, but it also has problems with the PTO brake, as we discovered in that one video. So might as well save that for whenever it decides it's time to work on the PTO. Unless it gets super worse, but I don't think it is. So anyway, we got to let our stuff dry, and then we'll get back to this at some point. All right, we're going to get this sealed up, I hope, because the guy is wanting her back. So we need to get her finished. I think it's ready. I need to probably wipe. What did I do with there's my rag? To make sure that is all dry. I guess not though, really. It'll suck up some oil in that cork as she goes. Gotta put my clothespins away though, because they're still clipped on there, so that's always a fun time, you know. I don't have time to mess with these clothespins, so I'm not gonna. I'll sort that out later. You didn't pay to watch clothespins, you know. Every time I think I am ready to do something in this project, I end up finding something that's not what I think. And what I'm talking about now is my bolt holes. There's some of them where I got some of that weather strip stuff in there, and I need to really poke that out before I go. All right. Let's see here. How did I do this? I have to go slightly at an angle to clear that. That looks good. And we'll start putting these in. I don't know that it makes much difference, but usually when I put in these little doodads here, I usually flip them over from whatever direction they were the time before, because when you draw them down, you kind of flip the wings up. So I'm figuring on making them a little more like they were before. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah. It's hard to tell if I'm in exactly the right spot. Exactly the right spot. There we go. I'll probably have to go again to the other side here right quick to start those. Also, they're on the other side, so that would make sense. Yep. Come on, folks. There we go. There we go. Now we're gonna get back into the fun times of you can't see anything, which is always a fun for videos, you know. If you can't see anything. What interesting filming, you know. It's cold and rainy, but it's not gonna get no warmer, so there's no use to wait a little bit or anything, because it's just not gonna happen. How much is too much? Well, when you hear the tink of sadness, your little bolt twists off, you know you went too much. Also, if you see the gasket totally pounded out, it's probably too much. But I don't know, you kind of got to go by feel, and I like to try to watch the gasket. But you can do whatever you want, because what do I know? You probably don't like the way I'm doing it. You could probably do it so much better, so you just go ahead. Yes, that was the part I was dreading this whole time. That was the thing that just, it takes so long to get to. Yeah, so hopefully that's done and it doesn't leak. But we got ourselves another project quick, but we're gonna change out the rubbers on these return lines. And it ain't it's not a walk in the park. I hate to tell you, but I feel like this one I think's been leaking. And it don't get no easier, so you might as well do it now. Which means I'll have to probably take the hoses off of both ends again. He says as he doesn't do that and just keeps going. But what I did with my 1/4-inch nut driver. Oh, I know where it is. And actually, it would probably be easier to, would it be easier to get that off with the compressor? I don't know. Just pull that off. Tuck her out of the way somewhere. I'm debating on that because it might be, I can kind of, I don't know. With the compressor loose, it might be easier. I might be able to get in there one way or the other better. Like there, it kind of blocks the, we'll see. We'll just leave it loose because we already got it loose. But you probably can't see off camera what I'm doing. I've only got 8% battery left, so that ain't gonna fly for you. So I guess when that happens, I'll have to get the old phone out and bring it home so you can see what's happening. Or I could just turn you a little bit so you could see. But this is all one tube, so you gotta do it as one. You have to take them all loose and get that off of there. Try not to rake any dirt in anything whilst you're doing it. It's a nice solid setup that won't leak ever if you get it right, but the advantage of the tractors that use individual things is then you can do one at a time or whatever. But this is a nice idea. Has to be very precise though. I imagine to make it was probably, I don't know, it was probably an expensive process because they had to constantly have everything soldered the right way or however they made it. Will you turn by hand now yet? There. Okay. So the difficulty, a couple of them stayed behind, which that's kind of nice because all you got to do then is pull them out of there. The ones that are really difficult to do are the ones that stay down in the nut because you got to dig around to get them loose. But, you know, sometimes you get lucky. These pipes are normally not flared. Sometimes if you have trouble keeping them there, I'll flare the end of them a little bit, but not so much on this return line thing as on like oil line to the turbo and stuff like that. But by design, they're supposed to be just stuck on there. And it's just a simple matter of pulling loose and re-going. But this one's not. This one's not going to play ball, so I'm going to have to poke it out of there somehow. There we go. That wasn't too bad. I'm going to clean this all up before I put it back together, and that's just how it's going to be. You're at 1%, so the battery's going to die, so you're not going to get to see it, but all you do is push little rubber things on there and then go back the way we just came. So I'll bring you back with the phone when something interesting happens. All right. I think I have everything put back together where it can be run and test and see for leaks. That'll also give it a chance to circulate some of the engine oil and pick up any trash and put it back, you know, into the filters. And then we will change the oil last thing. But I'm just doing a once over here to see if there's anything else that I have neglected to do. and I don't think there is. I got all the fuel system hooked back up. This, got those changed out on there. Got the crossover tube done. This is just stuck in each end because we'll have to take it probably loose to get the hood on. Yeah, I mean, these are empty, so we'll have to turn the wheel to get that the way it needs to be. But I think it's ready to try to start it again and then give it a once over, I believe. So let me, what I need to do, it is still a little messy. I hate that it's got trash on it, but short of taking it up and washing it off again, it's probably just gonna have some trash on it because, yeah. Oh, I forgot this. Good thing. I need to address that. So let me take care of that, put this bracket back on, torque that down again, and then we should be set. So I'll do that. All right. We'll put the battery cables, stick them back on, and then we'll try to give this a go. Will it run? Well, it better. It did the other day. It's just a matter of get R done. I'll have to set you down to do this since I don't have my GoPro. It's dead and I don't have any batteries charged. So sure, let's just wedge you in here so if something flies apart, you'll get to hear what that sounds like real close. It is cold today. It might need some laughing gas. I hate to run the battery dead, but not my battery. I'm trying to see if I can get you. Can I get you somewhere where you can see the smoke? I don't like this new phone. It's got buttons on places and you can't get where you need to go. All right, let's go around and see what's going on. I did talk to him and he said, go ahead and replace the belts. So I need to get some of them on the way. Nothing is gushing, that's good. Doesn't look like it even has exhaust leaks or anything. That's good. I think that's from looking at all my fittings, connections, making sure they're good. The more I look at that, the more I want to replace it, but I don't know. Well, we did wonders for it, I'll tell you that. It's a lot better than it was. A lot better. Pretty sweet running, old rig, gotta say. Yeah, we've done it a lot of favors, I think. See if our PTO is turning. Oh, it quit. Good. So that must have just been a fluke that day. It was so cold. Or maybe when you started, then it, you know, had a hard time stopping since the brake wasn't working. But that's great. That fixed itself. I love it when stuff just fixes itself, and then I don't have to worry about it anymore. I want to run it a little bit and circulate everything. So hopefully it washes all the, if there's any trash that got knocked in there, it gets stopped in these filters. I've got new filters, and I'll get those swapped out. He's bringing me oil because he uses synthetic oil. And yeah, so I do have a gasket for behind there, but it maybe isn't worth taking that loose. I don't know. I might just leave it this go around. I think a lot of his trouble was from that turbo oil line leaking and then it getting blown everywhere. Also the valve cover leaking. And then another thing that people often overlook, which causes a lot of mess, his muffler's missing that one tab. And I bet it had enough of a hole that it was blowing exhaust under there, and that just accumulates all kinds of trash. So, like I said, I think I got 99% of the issue taken care of. So we need to get him more belts, because look at how bad they flop. That ain't gonna work. That air conditioner belt especially. I talked to him and he said he did think the air conditioner worked. So, because they had it totally gone through when it was painted 8 or 9 years ago. So, but the more I look at that, I almost want to replace this hose from the rubbing, and then this is pretty bad right there. I don't think I have you in the right front there. Yeah. I think that needs attention. So I might go ahead and have that made a little bit shorter too, because I don't think it needs to be that long. Where's it go? Oh, it goes clear up over to the other side there. It's got some bad place on underneath of here. Yeah, it don't get no easier to get to that either, so I think I am gonna have that one made. Like I said, I'll measure it a little better and have it made shorter. And then, you know, because he doesn't need all this extra length here. Look at how much extra we have. If we could get it, I don't know, 6 inches, 8 inches shorter, it'd do it a lot of good. Because it's tucked out of the way up here good enough. You know? Yeah, well, I'll think on that and potentially get that done. But that's no big deal. That's easy to do. Everything's easy to get to right now with the hood off, so the time is now. We need to figure out his electrical situation. He said he wouldn't mind having some lights working. He felt like the last time he used them, he smelled smoke, and that ain't no good, so I'll see what I can do. I'm pumped about that, though. I was really worried about his PTO situation. And just run it a while and make sure it's not leaking anywhere. I don't think it is. Sweet. All right, where I'm gonna call this one here. I'll get some more necessary parts to wrap this up, and we might have one more video on it, I don't know. I'm gonna have to leave again today, so I just gotta throw in little snippets whenever I get a chance to work on it. We'll sort out his electrical problem, and then just do everything necessary to button it up. I wanna get a piece of rubber to put over that, and then down there, I said that before, get some new belts, and I think we are in Fat City, my friends. So we're gonna leave this one here. As always, if you enjoy my videos, give them a thumbs up. That helps out the channel, and it doesn't cost you anything. Leave a comment. Tell me that you liked it, or tell me that you hated it. Tell me I'm a moron. I really don't care, but anything that you say helps us out too. So thank you again, as always, for watching, and I will see you in the next one.